So we will begin by casting on our stitches. I'm using the long tail cast on method and we will cast on 40 stitches. So we'll just cast on in this way a total of 40 stitches. Here I've finished casting on my stitches, and now we will begin working on row number 1, which is going to be the front side of the jacket. We will start by working seed stitch in the first 5 stitches. So here we will purl our first stitch and then we will knit the next stitch, again purl the next stitch, knit the next stitch and purl the next stitch. So after working the first 5 stitches in seed stitch like so, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1 and purl 1. Oops, I made a mistake over here. I'm going to purl the next stitch. So purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1 and purl 1. These are the 5 front stitches, border stitches, which we have worked in the seed stitch pattern, and the rest of the stitches. Now the next 30 stitches we will knit them. So just simply knit the next 30 stitches. After knitting 30 stitches, I am left with 5 stitches, and we are going to work these 5 stitches in the seed stitch pattern, because these 5 stitches are also going to be for the border. So I've purled my first stitch and then knit the second, again purl the third, knit the fourth and purl the fifth, and this completes row number 1. So row number 2 and all the other even rows are going to be the same. We will work in the seed stitch pattern for the first 5 stitches, because those are our border stitches. So purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1. Work in the seed stitch pattern over the first 5 stitches, and then the rest of the stitches on row number 2 and all the other even rows will be worked in this same way. Work seed stitch on the first 5 stitches and purl all the rest of the stitches. So I'm just going to purl all the remaining stitches, and when you will reach the last 5 stitches, you will again work seed stitch over these 5 stitches to make the border. So after purling all of the stitches in between, I'm left with 5 stitches now. So we're going to work in the same way. Purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1 and purl the last. So this completes row number 2. Now we will begin working on row number 3, where we will also start making our raglan increases. So the first 5 stitches will be worked in the seed stitch pattern for the border. So purl the first stitch, knit the next, purl the next, knit the next and purl the next. So these are our 5 stitches completed. Next we are going to knit the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2, 3. So these 3 stitches are going to be for our left front. Then we're going to work an increase in the next 2 stitches by knitting the front and the back. So go into the next stitch and knit through the front loop. Then without dropping it off the left hand needle, we're going to go into the back loop and knit through the back loop as well. And now we will drop the stitch from the left hand needle. Now we have made our first increase. We're going to place a stitch marker, and then we are going to make the next increase in the next stitch. So going into the next stitch, work through the front loop and then make an increase through the back loop and then drop the stitch off the left hand needle. So we've made our first increase. Next we are going to knit the next 2 stitches. which are going to be our sleeve stitches, and then again we're going to make a raglan increase. Going into the next stitch, knit through the front loop and knit through the back loop, place our stitch marker, go into the next stitch, knit through the front loop and knit through the back loop. That's our second increase made. Next we are going to knit the next 12 stitches. So just go ahead and knit the next 12 stitches, and these 12 stitches are for our back. After knitting the next 12 stitches, again we're going to make our increase. So knit through the front of the next stitch and then knit through the back loop, and then we're going to place a stitch marker. Again in the next stitch, knit through the front loop and then knit through the back loop. That's a third raglan increase made. Then we're going to knit the next 2 stitches, which is for our sleeve, and then again we're going to work an increase over here. Increase in the next stitch, knitting through the front loop and knitting through the back loop. Place your stitch marker, and again increasing in the next stitch, knit through the front loop, knit through the back loop, and the fourth raglan increase is done. Next we are going to knit the next 3 stitches, which is going to be our right front, and the remaining 5 stitches will be worked in the seat stitch pattern for the border. So knit 1, purl 1, purl 1, knit 1, again purl 1, knit 1, and then purl the last stitch. This completes row number 3 of the pattern. Row number 4 is an even row, so we're going to work it exactly in the same way as we worked row number 2. We are going to go and work in the first 5 stitches in the seat stitch pattern. So purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, and purl 1. Here we have worked the first 5 stitches for the border, and next we are going to just purl all of the remaining stitches. Here we have reached our first stitch marker, which is going to slip it onto our right hand needle, and we will continue purling the remaining stitches like so. Again we reach our stitch marker, we're going to slip it to the right hand needle and purl the remaining stitches. In this way we will keep on purling until we reach the last 5 stitches, which will be worked in the seat stitch pattern for the border. Now we will begin working on row number 5 of the pattern. So to start, we will work in the seat stitch pattern on the first 5 stitches. So purl 1, knit 1, again purl 1, knit 1, and purl 1. After that we are going to knit the next 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now in the stitch before the marker, we're going to work our increase by knitting the front and the back. Then we will slip the marker, and then we're going to increase in the stitch after the marker as well. So knitting through the front and then knitting through the back. After making our increase over here, we are going to knit the next 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, in the stitch before the marker, we're going to increase and then slip the marker, and in the stitch after the marker we're going to increase. After working our increase, we are going to knit the next 14 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We have reached the stitch before the marker. We're going to increase in this stitch and then slip the marker and then in the stitch after the marker we're going to increase. After this we are going to knit the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and again in the stitch before the marker we're going to work our increase by knitting through the front loop and then through the back loop. Then we're gonna slip our marker, and then in the stitch after the marker we're going to work our increase. After working our increase we're going to knit the next 4 stitches, and after knitting these 4 stitches we have reached the last 5 stitches, which we are going to work in the seed stitch pattern. So purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, and purl 1. So this completes row number 5 of the pattern. So just to give you an idea of what we'll be doing in the next rows, when we began row number 3 we had 5 stitches on each end for our borders, and then we had 3 stitches in the front, then we made our increases, and then we had 2 stitches for each of our sleeves, and then we had our raglan increases, and then we had 12 stitches for the back. Then on row number 4 we just purled all the stitches and we worked seed stitch in the first and the last 5 stitches for the border. Then on row number 5 we had increased 1 stitch on each front, and then we had increased 2 stitches on each sleeve, and we had increased 2 stitches for the back as well. So the rest of the rows you will keep on increasing 2 stitches in each of the raglan seams. You will have 1 more stitch in each front, you will have 2 more stitch in each sleeve, and you will have 2 more stitch in each back. And every other row you will work a purl row, and you will work the first and the last 5 stitches in seed stitch pattern in the purl rows as well. So in total you will have 17 increased rows, and at the end you will have 176 stitches on the needle. Now if you keep on working in this way, on row number 6 you will work a purl row, and you will work the first and the last 5 stitches in the seed stitch for the border. Then when you start row number 7 you will work the first 5 stitches in seed stitch, then you will have 5 stitches to work in the front panel, and then you will have your raglan increases. Then on the sleeves you will have increased 2 stitches, so you will have 6 stitches to work on the sleeve, again your raglan increases. Then on the back you will increase 2 stitches, so again you will have 16 stitches over here, and then again you will have your raglan increases, and on the next sleeve as well you will have 6 stitches, and then again your raglan increases, and on the next front panel you will have 5 stitches. So in the front panels you will increase 1 stitch, you will have 1 more stitch increased, and then on the sleeves you will have 2 more stitches increased, and on the back also you will have 2 more stitches increased. So in this way your stitches will keep increasing until in the end you will have 176 stitches in total on your needles. So I'm going to work another row just to show you how we are going to work on our increases. So the first 5 stitches we are going to work in the seed stitch pattern. So purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, and purl 1. So the first 5 stitches we have made in the seed stitch. Then we have our 5 stitches for the front panel. So we had 4 stitches on row number 5. So in row number 7 we're going to have 5 stitches. We had 4 on row number 5. So in this row number 7, we're going to have 5 stitches. So we will begin working on these 5 stitches for the left front panel. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. and here we have reached the stitch before the marker where we will work our raglan increase. So as you can see over here, we had 4 in row number 5. So on row number 7 we have increased 1 stitch in the front. Now we will work our increase in the stitch before the marker. We're going to slip our marker, and then we're going to work another increase in the stitch after the marker as well. Next, over here on the previous row we had 4 stitches for our sleeve on row number 4. So on row number 7 we're going to have 6 stitches for the sleeves. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oops, let me close that. So after working these 6 stitches for the sleeve, we have again reached the stitch before the marker. Here we are going to work our increase, knitting in the front and the back of the stitch, and then slip our marker, and then in the next stitch after the marker we're going to work our increase as well, knitting in the front and the back of the stitch. Now we have our back stitches. On row number 5 we had 14 stitches, so on row number 7 we're going to have 16 stitches. So let's work these 16 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 and 16, working our back stitches, and then we have reached the stitch where we will increase. So knit the front and the back, slip the marker, and then increase in the stitch after the marker as well. Now after working our increase, we have reached the sleeve again. We will have 6 stitches for the sleeve. We had 4 stitches on row number 5. On row number 7 we're going to have 2 more stitches increased, so we'll have 6 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Increase in the next stitch, slip the marker, and increase 1 in the next stitch after the marker as well. And again we have reached the right front. So over here we had 4 stitches on row number 5. On row number 7 we're going to have 5 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the rest of the 5 stitches are for our border stitches, which are going to be worked in the seed stitch pattern. So we're going to purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, and purl 1. Now to work row number 8, you're going to work the first 5 stitches in seed stitch, and then you're going to purl all of the rest of the stitches, slipping the markers as you go, and when you reach the last 5 stitches you're going to work in seed stitch as well. And then on row number 9 you're going to work the first 5 stitches in seed stitch, and you will have 1 stitch increased in the left front panel, the left front side. So when it was 5 on row number 9, it is going to be 6, and then you will increase in the stitch before the marker and after the marker as well. Then over here for the sleeves you had 6 stitches, so in this row you will have 2 more stitches increased. You will have 8 stitches, again increase in the stitch before the marker and after the marker as well. Then you will have, you had 16 stitches on the previous row, so in this row you will have 2 stitches increased. You will have 18 stitches for the back, then again increase in the stitch before the marker and after the marker as well. Again for the sleeves you had 6 stitches on the previous increased row, so you will have 2 more stitches increased. You will have 8 stitches for this sleeve as well, again increase in the stitch before the marker and after the marker as well. And then you will have 6 stitches for the panel, for the right front panel, and after working those stitches you will have 5 stitches for your border, which you will work in the seed stitch pattern. and you will keep on working in this way until you have worked 17 increase row in total, and at the end you will have 176 stitches on your needles. I finished making all of my increases and I have 176 stitches on my needle, and now we are going to work just one more row on the purl side so that we can come back to the right side and then start dividing the body and the sleeves. So we are at the right side of the garment again, and now we will separate the first sleeve from the rest of the jacket. So for that we are going to work over the first 26 stitches. So we will begin by working on our border first. In the same way, we're going to purl 1 and knit 1 on the first 5 stitches. So that's purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1 and purl 1. Here we have worked on the first 5 stitches, which are our border stitches, and we will work on the remaining stitches until we have 26 stitches on the right hand needle. So we will just simply knit the rest of the stitches until we have 26 stitches. After working over the first 26 stitches, we are going to transfer them to a stitch holder, or if you don't have that available, you can use a piece of scrap yarn and a tapestry needle, and we can just transfer all of these stitches, these 26 stitches that we have worked on, to our scrap yarn. So here I have transferred all of the 26 stitches for the left front on the scrap yarn, and we can remove the stitch marker now if we don't need it anymore. And now we will begin working on the rest of the stitches. Now we will continue knitting, and we will knit the next 38 stitches, which are for the left sleeve. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In this way you will continue working on the next 38 stitches. I have my 38 stitches for the left sleeve on my needle, and now we are going to place all of the remaining stitches on a stitch holder or a piece of scrap yarn, and we will begin working on the left sleeve. So here on this side I have all the remaining stitches on my piece of scrap yarn, and on this side I have the stitches of the left front on my scrap yarn, and over here on my needle I have the 38 stitches of the left sleeve on my needle. Now we are going to work on the sleeve, and for that we are going to work back and forth in stockinette stitch on these 38 stitches for the sleeve. So as we worked a knit row on the right side, we are now on the wrong side, and over here we are going to work in purl stitch. So we will continue working on the stockinette stitch over these 38 stitches, and we will decrease 1 stitch at each end every 6th row, a total of 3 times. So I have worked on the first row. Now this is our second row for the sleeves. So on the second row of the sleeve we're going to purl all of the stitches. After finishing row number 2 of the left sleeve, I'm back on the right side again, and I'm working on row number 3 of the left sleeve. So on row number 3 of the left sleeve we are going to knit all of the stitches. I'm on row number 4 of the left sleeve, and on row number 4 we're going to purl all of the stitches. I'm on row number 5, and row number 5 for the left sleeve is going to be knit all of the stitches. I'm on row number 6, which is a purled row. We're going to purl the first stitch, and then we are going to purl the next 2 stitches together to make a decrease. So we have made a decrease on this end on the 6th row, and then we are going to purl all of the stitches until we have 3 stitches remaining. Now I have 3 stitches remaining. I'm going to purl these 2 stitches together to make our decrease on this end as well, and then I'm going to purl the last stitch. So we have made our first decrease on the 6th row. We have to work a decrease in the same way 2 more times so that it becomes 3 times in total. You are going to work another 5 rows, and then on the 6th row you are going to make a decrease on each end, and then again you're going to work another 5 rows, and then on the 6th row you're going to make a decrease at each end. Here I'm done working on the remaining 2 decreases. The first decrease was made on row number 6, the second was made on row number 12, and the third was made on row number 18. After working all of the 3 decreases, we are just going to work even in stockinette stitch until our sleeve measures 6 inches or the desired length to the cuff. So we will just knit on the right side and purl on the wrong side, and we will keep working on that until our sleeve reaches 6 inches or your desired length. So here my sleeve measures 6 inches now, measuring from the part where we separated the sleeve from the body. So from there till the end where I've worked, my sleeve measures 6 inches. When we started working on the sleeve, we had 38 stitches, and after that we did our decreases 3 times, 1 stitch decrease on each end, and then we ended up with 32 stitches. Now then we worked even on these 32 stitches, and now we have to decrease 4 stitches to have 28 stitches in the end. So the last row that I have worked is a knit row, and now we will begin working on the purl row where we will make our decreases. So to begin working our decrease, we are going to purl the first 3 stitches, and then we will make our first decrease. So here we will purl 2 stitches together, and that's our first decrease made. Then we will purl the next 6 stitches, and 6, and after working these 6 stitches we will make our second decrease by purling 2 stitches together. Then again we will purl the next 6 stitches, and then again we will purl the next 2 stitches together, making our third decrease. Then again we will purl the next 6 stitches, after purling 6 stitches we will make our fourth decrease by purling 2 stitches together, and then we have the last 3 stitches remaining, which we will simply purl. So we need to have 28 stitches now. So let's count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 20, 2, 4, 6, 8. So now we have our 28 stitches on the needle. After working on the sleeve, now we will start working on the cuff of the sleeve, and for that we will need to change our knitting needles to a smaller size. So here I'm using a 5mm knitting needle, and I am going to use a 3.5mm knitting needle for working on the cuff. So we are going to transfer these needles to our knitting needle as we work on them. So you can use circulars or you can use your straight knitting needles, whichever you prefer. And now we are going to work for the cuffs in the seat stitch pattern. So we will purl the first stitch, I'm working with a 3mm knitting needle now, and after purling the first stitch we will knit the next stitch, and then again I will purl the next stitch, knit the next stitch, purl the next stitch, knit the next stitch, and we will continue doing that until we reach the end of this row. So that's purl, knit, purl, and knit. In this way you will transfer all of your stitches from the 5mm knitting needle to the 3mm knitting needle. Here I have transferred all of my stitches on the 3mm knitting needle, and we will keep the 5mm needle aside, and now we will continue working in the seat stitch pattern until we have worked 11 rows for the cuff. So we ended with a knit, so we will start the pattern with a knit stitch so that it could be a purl on the other side, and then we will purl the next stitch, again knit the next stitch, and purl the next stitch. So in this way you will keep working in the seat stitch pattern until you have finished 11 rows. You will knit the purls and purl the knits, making sure that you're doing that on both the sides, and after completing 11 rows your sleeve will be done. So I have finished working on 11 rows for the sleeve cuff, and now we are ready to bind off. So we will bind off working in the seat stitch pattern. For that, as we have a purl stitch over here, we are going to knit that stitch. So the first stitch is a purl, so for the seat stitch we will knit the purls. So going into the first stitch we will knit it, and then we'll go into the next stitch, which is a knit, so we have to purl this stitch. So we'll go and purl the next stitch, and then we will bind off as usual. And we did a bind off of one stitch. Next we have a purl, so we will knit it, and then we will pass the previous stitch over that, and that's our bind off. Then we have a knit, so we will go ahead and purl it, and then we will pass the previous stitch over the stitch, and in this way you will keep on binding off your stitches working in the seat stitch pattern. Here I have completed working on one sleeve. I did my bind off and our first sleeve is ready. Now we'll continue working on the second sleeve. So we have finished working on the left sleeve, and these are the stitches for the left front part which we have on our first stitch holder, and then these are the stitches for the right front part, the right sleeve, and the back as well, which we have on the second stitch holder. So now we will take our knitting needles once again, the 5mm knitting needle, and we will transfer all of these stitches on the second stitch holder to our 5mm knitting needle. These are the stitches on my second stitch holder right here, which is a scrap piece of yarn, and I'm going to transfer these stitches to my needle. Now since I am working on a circular needle, I will just start transferring from over here on this side, and then I will pull my needle and all the stitches will be on this needle, and then I can continue working on the right side of the jacket. But if you are working on straight knitting needles, then make sure you start transferring the stitches from this side, so that as you go over here, as you reach the last stitches, you will have the needle tip pointing to the side so that you can continue working on the right side. So I've transferred all of my stitches to my 5mm knitting needle, and now I'm just going to pull this, and so that all of my stitches are on the needle on this side. Now we are going to join our yarn, so we're going to take our yarn and make a loop, and we will go into the first stitch, and then we're going to place this loop on our needle and we're going to knit it. And for the first few stitches I'm going to use both the strands of yarn to work so that it gets secure. So that's our first stitch, and we have to work across the next 48 stitches, which will be for our back. So that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on. You will keep working on the next 48 stitches. So I finished working on the 48 stitches of the back, and now we are again going to place all of these 48 stitches on our stitch holder or a scrap piece of yarn. Here I have placed the 48 stitches for the back on the stitch holder, and now we will begin working on the next 38 stitches, which are for our sleeve. So we will simply take our working yarn from here, and we will continue working, knitting all of the stitches. Let's just remove this marker, and we will continue working in the pattern. We'll just knit all of the stitches which are for our sleeve. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In this way we will keep on working until we have 38 stitches on the needle. Here I have worked across the 38 stitches for the sleeve, and then the remaining stitches, which are for our right front, we will place them on another stitch holder or a piece of scrap yarn. So here I have the remaining stitches, which are for our right front on a piece of scrap yarn, or you can use a stitch holder if you have one, and we are just going to tie them so they are secure. And now we will again begin working on the right sleeve as we did for the left sleeve. So we will work for the right sleeve in the exact same way as we did for the left sleeve. We will work back and forth in stockinette stitch, decreasing 1 stitch at each end every 6th row, a total of 3 times. Then we will work even on those stitches until our sleeve measures 6 inches or desired length to the cuff. Then we will end with a knit row. After that, we will purl the next row, decreasing the stitches to 28 stitches, and then we will change our needle to a 3.5 millimeter needle, and we will work in seat stitch for 11 rows, and then we will bind off working in the seat stitch pattern the same way as I have shown for the left sleeve. So here we have our right sleeve done, and this is our left sleeve, which is also completed. So we have finished working on both the sleeves, and now we will begin working on the body of the jacket. To begin working on the body, we will first start by taking the stitches from the right front and transferring them to our needle. So here I have started transferring the stitches on my needle. So here I'm just going to pick up those stitches on the needle, and as I do that, after picking up a few stitches, I'm going to pull the yarn out, and you can see these stitches are on my needle now. So when you are working on straight needles, make sure you start picking up stitches from this side so that the tip of your needle points towards the right, as we will be working on the right side. I have a I have a circular needle, so I'm just going to pull my needle and all the stitches will be transferred to this needle here. So in this way you will transfer all of the stitches on your 5 millimeters knitting needle. So all of my stitches have been transferred on the needle. Now I'm just going to pull my needle through those stitches and transfer them onto this needle over here so that the tip of the needle is pointing to the right, and now I can begin working on the right side of the jacket. Now we will begin working on the right front. So we will insert our needle and we will join our new yarn, and we will knit all of the stitches as we go. So here again I'm knitting with both the strands of yarn so that it is more secure, and it's better that way because I will not have any ends to weave in at the end. So we're gonna knit using both the ends of the yarn, and then we have our single yarn back again. So we will just knit all of these stitches on the right front, and when we reach the last 5 stitches we will work in the seed stitch for our borders. So that's purl 1 and then knit 1, purl 1, knit 1 and purl 1. Now we will turn our work and we are at the wrong side or the back side of the jacket, the purl side, and now again we will work across all of the stitches of the front edge. So as this is a knit stitch, we will purl it as we are working the seed stitch pattern for the border. So after purling we will knit the next stitch, then purl the next stitch, knit the next stitch and purl the next. Here are our 5 stitches completed for the border, and now we will just purl all of the remaining stitches on our needle of the right front edge. So just keep on purling these stitches. So here is the right front edge where we worked on the stitches, and this right here is our sleeve, and over here on this piece of scrap yarn or a stitch holder we have our back stitches. So now we are going to transfer all of the stitches of the back to our needle. So all of these stitches which are for our back piece we will transfer on a knitting needle. So I'm just going to insert my needle in all of these stitches like this, and then I will pull the yarn and here I have the stitches transferred to my needle. Just keep on transferring all of the stitches on your needle in this way. Here I have transferred all of the back stitches on my needle, and now we will start working on these stitches. So we will, as we are on the purl side, we will purl all of these stitches and we will make sure that there is no space left between them, there are no gaps between them. So we will just pull the sleeve out of the way, and over here as you can see this is the front piece and this is the back piece, and in between we have the sleeve, and we will just work on the back stitches. Now we'll go into the stitch and work as close as possible and transfer it onto the right hand needle, and just keep on working in this way over all of the stitches of the back. After working across the stitches of the back, now we have reached the left sleeve, and now we have to do the same with the stitches on this stitch holder, which are for the left front part. We're going to transfer all of these stitches to our needle, and then we will work across them as well. I've transferred all of the stitches on my needle, and again we are going to start working on the stitches of the left front in the same way as we did for the stitches on the right front. We're just going to purl across all of these stitches. And now I have reached the last 5 stitches, which are going to be worked in the seed stitch pattern for the border. So we're going to purl the first stitch, and then knit, and then again purl, then again knit, and a purl in the end as well. After completing this row, you will have 100 stitches on your needle, which include the stitches of both the front pieces and the back. Now we will work 2 rows even, so there will be no increase or decrease. You will just work 2 rows on these 100 stitches. You will purl 1 row, and then you will knit you will knit this row, and then you will purl 1 row. Here I have already finished working on my jacket, and these are the increases on the underarm that we will be working on. So to begin, I will be demonstrating on another yarn. I have 100 stitches over here, as you will have to begin working on the increases. Now to start, we will begin by working the first 5 stitches in the seed stitch pattern. So we will purl, knit, purl, knit, and purl the first 5 stitches worked in seed stitch, and then we will knit the next 20 stitches, making it an equal of a total of 25 stitches for the left front, sorry, the right front. So I am just going to knit the next 20 stitches, here I have finished working on the first 25 stitches, which includes the first 5 stitches worked in the seed stitch pattern as well. And after working on the first 25 stitches, we're going to place a stitch marker, and we will begin by working our increases now. We will increase 1 stitch in each of the next 2 stitches. So we're going to knit the front and knit the back. That's a 1 stitch increase in the first stitch, and then again knit the front and knit the back. That's a 1 stitch increase in the next stitch. So we made an increase of 1 stitch in these 2 stitches. We will again place a stitch marker over here, and then we will knit the next 46 stitches of our back. So this is our right front, 25 stitches of the right front. Then we made our increase on the underarm here, and then we will knit the next 46 stitches for our back. After working on the 46 stitches, we're going to again place a stitch marker over here, and again we will make an increase of 1 stitch in the next 2 stitches. So going into the next stitch, knit the front and then knit through the back loop. You've made your first increase. Then in the next stitch, again knit the front and then knit through the back loop, and here you've made your second increase. Again, you will place a stitch marker and then you will knit the rest of the stitches in the same way that you did for the right front. So this is the left front, and we will be knitting the first 20 stitches, and then the last 5 stitches will be worked in the seed stitch pattern. After working on your first increase row, you are going to purl 1 row, knit 1 row, and then purl 1 row again. So you're going to work 3 rows even. You will purl 1 whole row, then you will knit 1 whole row, and then again you will purl 1 whole row. So this will be working 3 rows even without any decreases or increases, and make sure to slip the markers as you go. After working 3 rows even, I'm back on the right side of the work where we will begin working on the second increase row. I've already worked the first 5 stitches in the seed stitch pattern, and now we will knit the next 20 stitches to complete a total of 25 stitches worked. I've worked over the first 25 stitches. I've reached the stitch marker. I'm going to slide it onto my right hand needle. Now I'm going to make an increase in the next stitch, knitting the front and knitting through the back loop. After making an increase in the stitch after the stitch marker, we are going to knit the next 2 stitches, and then again the stitch before the stitch marker, we're going to make another increase in the stitch. So knit the front and knit the back and slip the stitch marker. So we made an increase in the stitch after the stitch marker, we knit the 2 stitches in between, and then we made an increase in the stitch before the next stitch marker. Now we will simply knit the next 46 stitches. I've finished knitting the 46 stitches for the back. Again, I've reached my stitch marker. I'm going to slip it on to the right hand needle. Again, we're going to make an increase in the stitch after the stitch marker. So knit in the front and knit in the back loop. We have 2 stitches in between. We're going to knit these 2 stitches, and then again we've reached the stitch before the stitch marker, and we're going to make an increase in this stitch as well. Again, slip the stitch marker, and we will knit the next 25 stitches working in the seed stitch pattern over the last 5 stitches. After completing the second increase row, again you will work 3 rows even, purl the next row, then knit the next row, and then again purl the next row. After working on 3 rows even, we are back to work on the third increase row, and we will work the first 5 stitches in the seed stitch pattern, and we will work over the next 20 stitches by simply knitting them until we reach the stitch marker. So I've reached the stitch marker. I'm going to slide it onto my right hand needle, and then we're going to increase 1 in the stitch next to the stitch marker. So knit in the front and knit through the back loop. After making an increase in the stitch after the stitch marker, we're going to knit the stitches in between. So in the previous increase row, we had 2 stitches in between the increase stitches. Now this time we have 4 stitches in between the increase stitches. So we're going to knit these 4 stitches, and then when we reach the last stitch before the stitch marker, we're going to work our next increase and slide the stitch marker onto the right hand needle, and here we have made our increase in the third row. Now we are going to just knit the next 46 stitches for the back. I've worked on the 46 stitches for the back. Again, I've reached the stitch marker. I'm going to slide it onto my right hand needle, The next stitch after the stitch marker, we're going to make an increase in that stitch. So knit the front and knit through the back loop. Then we are going to knit the stitches after the increase. So we have 4 stitches in total, so we're going to knit them. When we reach the last stitch before the stitch marker, that's where we have to make the increase again. So knit the front and knit the back and pass the slip stitch marker onto the right hand needle, and then we are going to work across the next 25 stitches, working in seed stitch pattern over the last 5 stitches. After working on the third row of the increase, we will again knit the next 3 rows even. You will purl 1 row, knit 1 row, and then purl 1 row, and then again you will reach your 4th increase row. So in the second increase row, we had 2 stitches in between the increases. In the third increase row, we had 4 stitches, and now when you reach the 4th increase row, you will have 6 stitches in between the increases. So you're going to make an increase in the stitch after the stitch marker, which is this one, and you will make an increase in the stitch before the stitch marker, which is this one. And in between, on row number 4 of the increase, you will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you will have 6 stitches in between. In this way, you will continue increasing 2 stitches in each increase row. So you'll have 2 more stitches between increases on every increase row, and in total you have to work 6 increase row. So I have shown you up until the 3rd increase row. The next 3 increase rows, you will have to work on them as I have shown you. In the 4th increase row, you will have 6 stitches in between. In the 5th increase row, you will have 8 stitches in between, and in the 6th increase row, you will have 10 stitches in between. After you have worked 6 increase rows, again you will work 3 rows even, and then we will begin working on the border. So as you can see here, up till here were our 25 stitches for the front part, and over here the straight line is what were our back stitches, and in between are our increased stitches which we have worked so far. After working on the increased stitches, we're going to start working on the border now. After working on the increase rows, when you reach the 6th row of the increase, which is going to be the last row, you're going to work 3 rows in stockinette stitch. You're going to purl 1 row, knit 1 row, and then purl 1 row again. And after that, you are going to begin working on the border. For that, after the 3 rows have been made in purl, knit, and purl, then you are going to work 2 rows of seed stitch, and then you will work again 3 rows in the stockinette stitch. You'll purl 1 row, knit 1 row, and then purl 1 row again. After working 3 rows in stockinette stitch, you're again going to work 3 rows in seed stitch. After that, you're going to work 5 rows in stockinette stitch, and then in the end you're going to work 8 rows of seed stitch. And after working these 8 rows of seed stitch, you will bind off, working in the seed stitch pattern as you go, and this will complete the border for the jacket. After working on the border, we will start working on the finishing for our jacket. We're going to start at the lower edge of the right front. This is the right front which I have here, and we're going to begin at the lower edge. We're going to use a crochet hook, and we are going to insert our hook at the lower edge. Grab our yarn, and we will work a row of single crochets on the right front. So here we have the first single crochet made, and then you're going to go into the next spaces and work a row of single crochet, just like that. You're gonna keep going and work a row of single crochet on the right front of the jacket. After finishing working on the right front edge, you're going to fasten off and you're going to weave in the ends later on. Then you will begin working on the left front edge, and you will join your yarn and you will work 2 rows of single crochet on the left front, making sure that you have the same number of stitches as you did on the right front. After working on the left and right front edges, we will begin working on the collar. For that, we will take our 3.5mm knitting needles again, and we are going to pick up 52 stitches at the neck edge. You're going to pick up the stitches from the wrong side of the garment. So this is the wrong side, this is the inside, and this is the right side of the garment. So from the wrong side of the garment, you're going to go in and pick up 52 stitches all across the neck edge, and then we will turn our work and we will begin working for the collar by working in the seed stitch pattern. So we are going to go ahead and purl the first stitch,